Right, hello lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under, where today it has been so quiet the last couple of days since CCV was announced as a permanent Celtic player. It's been quite quiet on the Celtic news front. We haven't got much to cover today, just a couple of stories, short and sweet, to keep you guys interested in what's going on in the off-season, because it does get quite boring at some stages. Before we go any further though, if you guys are enjoying the off-season content, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Trying to hit 3,000 subscribers before Handball returns. We're actually only 6 subscribers away, so I appreciate all of you who have helped reach this milestone. But without further ado, let's get into it now. Also, on a quick note, I'm planning to do a Q&A video on the channel. So if you guys have any questions at all, it doesn't have to be Celtic related. It can literally be, what time do you wake up in the morning? You can either comment it down below in the comment section, or if you go to the community tab on my channel page, the most recent post there, you can leave it under that as well. But that's all though, so let's get into it. Now, first thing on the agenda, Celtic are reportedly showing genuine interest in Brazilian holding midfielder in the second tier of Belgian football, Vinicius Souza. Now, don't let the fact that he plays in the second tier of Belgium, deter you in any way, because last season he did play with KV Mechelen on loan in the first division and was extremely impressive. He managed 27 appearances in the Jupiler Pro League. Yet again, Jupiler Pro League, not the Jupiter Pro League, because that is out of this world. Haha. Yeah, sorry, that's terrible for me again. Regardless, he started 76% of those matches, scoring twice and assisting once, but primarily as a defensive midfielder. However, he did also play further up the pitch in that holding midfielder box-to-box role. Now, obviously, with he scored twice and assisted once, and with these defensive midfielders, they're never going to top the stat sheets. That's not something you expect from them. And it's true for this lad, because it's clear in the highlight reels that this boy is talented. He is 22 years old, very tall. He is 188 centimeters tall. He's very strong in the ball and a true ball winner in that midfield role. I think he is a perfect fit for Celtic. And I'll tell you all why. Because Celtic's midfield right now, while it is talented, it isn't so physically strong, And while we dazzle opponents with our work on the ball in the Premiership, in the Scottish Premiership, we hold the ball for roughly 70 to 80% of the matches. Going into the Champions League, we're not going to have that much possession. Of course not. We're going to be winning the ball back more often than holding the ball. And, Celtic's midfield, despite, it being good at pressing and winning the ball back, we do lack a lot of physical dominance in that midfield. We're going to need those physically strong midfielders to win the ball back and to stop it from getting to our defense, because that's nothing against our defensive line. I think we have a really strong, capable defensive line and goalkeeper in Joe Hart, but we can't be relying on them every single time to win the ball back and for other teams to fluff their attacks. So, look, I'll tell you what Celtic need. Celtic need a Victor Wanyama, right? And I think Souza is one of the closest things we will get to getting a replacement for Victor Wanyama. We need that type of player, and a player that fits that mold, and he is so strong, and so he does the basics so well, and he doesn't do anything fancy, Despite being a Brazilian midfielder, you'd expect him to have a whole array of silky skills in their locker, but he does in the midfield, he does show it off a bit, but his main asset is that the fact that he is strong, he wins the ball back, and he can make great passes. Now, the issue is that he is in high demand from the rest of Europe. Fenerbahce have been named from Turkey, but reports state there is also genuine interest from France, England, and Italy. Now, how many of these clubs will offer him Champions League nights at Paradise like Celtic can? Well, Fenerbahce are only in the second round of qualifying for this season, and I'm not sure, the clubs that are being rumoured from Italy, England and France aren't going to be the Champions League teams. I guarantee that all the teams are the mid-table teams looking for him. So that is a plus for Celtic. And what is another plus for Celtic is that the Daily Mail have reported Celtic have scheduled talks with Souza and his agent, and we all know how well Ange can bring talent to the club. and bring the talent that he desires. I personally, I'd be willing to pay the upwards of £5 million for his services. I do believe he would really bolster this Celtic midfield. I really do believe that. And he can play in the box-to-box role. He can play, which would see Callum McGregor stay in his natural CDM role, or he can even play in the CDM role, which will push Callum McGregor, further up the pitch, which I also think isn't a bad idea. And I just think for Champions League night specifically, he will be an absolute stalwart in that midfield. I honestly do think if we can get our hands on him and we can acquire his services, he should be in that starting midfield. Obviously, if he comes and his form is really poor, obviously not. But from what I can see, I think he starts in Celtic's midfield somewhere, either in the box-to-box role or in that holding CDM role. Now, on a disappointing note on the Celtic transfer front, a couple of days ago, I covered the reports regarding Alexandro Bernabei and how Celtic were apparently closing in on him. Reports today coming out of Argentina have suggested that Celtic have already made an official bid to Lanus for Bernabei's services, but have been rejected. Now, what do we know? What don't we know? And what we don't know is how much Celtic offered Lanus for his services. Transfermarkt has him valued at just under £3 million. So I'm thinking Celtic offered somewhere between the 1.5 to £2 million mark. Obviously, that's just speculation. That's just me thinking, but that's what I think. I think Lanus are in the mindset that they could really, get just that little bit more for his services, But in these disappointing times, there's always light. And the positive is that the transfer window has been open for 3 days, and Celtic have already begun the process of trying to sign players and putting in formal official bids. And they're doing this. It gives, even if clubs do reject it and they don't want to sell, it gives Ange and it gives Michael Nicholson time to, identify the replacements and go in for them, rather than panic sign, on deadline day, for example, And if Celtic are pursuing Bernabei this early on, it's a clear indicator to me that Ange wants him at the club, and I will support any signing Ange makes without a doubt. Every signing Ange makes, honestly, I'm under the mentality right now that we need to give him a fair go, because I wouldn't pass judgment without them seeing them kick a ball, Now, the thing is, I'm not so sure Celtic will go back with an improved offer. The deal is certainly more than achievable, without a doubt. Bernabei is entering the final year of his contract. Lanus would be ridiculous to try and demand anywhere from £2.75 million or more. And looking at how many left-backs Celtic have been linked to in this off-season, I don't think they just want to be pushed around by a club like Lanus, And if they're going to be stubborn, I'm sure Ange will just walk away and he'll be like, fine, let's go on to the next option. Cross Alexandro Bernabei off the list, go on to, I don't know, Ortega or one of the other 10 left-backs we've been linked to so far, But looking at it, I can see why a club like Lanus are going to be very stubborn, because they know Celtic have a improved transfer budget than recent years, with Champions League money coming in. They'll know they can, maybe, what's the word? How do I say they can, I'm really bad at English. They can, squeeze. That's the word. They can squeeze a little bit of extra cash out of Celtic. And at the end of the day, that's all good and all for them. But if they want to be like that, Celtic still have the power. We have the cash. We can just go spend that elsewhere. And I'm sure they'd hate to lose out on, let's say £2 million for a player who's entering the final year of his contract and can leave on a free deal. Do I want to see Celtic go back in for Bernabei? Yeah, I think at 21 years old, I think it would be ridiculous not to pay, £2 million for him. I think there is a lot of raw talent there. I think there's also a lot of refined talent there that can further be developed. Certainly a player I feel will succeed in Ange's system. We can see in his highlight reels and highlight packages that he is more than adept in playing in the inverted fullback role. And I do see him putting pressure on Greg Taylor. Early days, he will be putting and applying that pressure to Greg Taylor. And if you ask me, I wouldn't be surprised, give it maybe a month of action. I wouldn't be surprised if he came in and he took Greg Taylor's starting spot. And that's just the way it looks. I think that is I think that's the capability he has. At 21 years old, sky's the limit for him right now. And I think under Ange, yeah, that talent he will just go to a whole nother level. It's whether Lanus want to sell him, and it's whether if Celtic want to fork out that little bit extra, or they want to use that money elsewhere on a club that won't be so stubborn. But that is all from me. So if you guys did enjoy the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Leave in the comments below any questions you have for a potential Q&A. If we get enough questions, I'll do it. If there's not many, it'll be off. So it's up to you guys if you want to see that. And also, if you don't want to leave a question, what are your thoughts on the Alexandro Bernabei situation and also that of Vinicius Souza? And until next time, hail, hail.